wake up and realize it seemed like
Hey, how you doing today? Welcome to another episode of Open Door. It's your boy Chris Harris. I'm so thankful that you took the time to check out Open Doors, to check out this episode, and I know we're going to have an awesome time. If you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button because we're dropping episodes fast. Here at Open Doors, we're dropping episode week in and week out, interesting topic after interesting topic, and you want to keep up. So hit that subscribe button, share Open Doors with your friends and tell them to hit that subscribe button because when we drop an episode, it comes right to you. All right, let's get started. Let's not waste any time. I have an interesting topic that I want to discuss with you. I was talking to someone recently and they brought this topic up to me and I told them I'm going to, do an episode about this topic. So today's topic is this. Is it okay for your spouse or your mate to track you? To track your location? Is it okay? Let's talk about it today. This is going to be interesting. Let's talk about it today. Is it okay for your spouse or your mate, the person that you're in a relationship with, to track your location? You know, now they have the AirPods where people can put the AirPods in a bag or in your car and they can track your location. Also, you can put your location, you can share your location on the phone and they can track it that way. So let's talk about it. But before we talk about it, there is a video that I found. They were discussing the same thing. I want to play the video clip because it's going to set a foundation for us, and then we're going to jump right in this conversation. All right, let me play the video.
People in relationships aren't just sharing passwords anymore. Oh, no. They're sharing locations. Inverse recently reported that relationship experts are split on if couples should be sharing their GPS locations with each other. Because while it could be good for safety purposes, there's concern that people could become obsessive over where their partners are at all times. So ladies, where do you stand on this issue? Should you share your location?
I feel like, sure, why not? I think a while back, Iz and I put them on each other's phones because we actually found out from another couple that this existed. And if I'm honest, when we were talking about it today, I was sitting and I was like, when we first brought this up, I was like, wait, when I thought about it, I was like, oh, I don't think I have that on my phone. Do I have that? And I looked at Iz, he's like, oh yeah, we do have it, but I actually had forgotten. But I think it actually is important in a marriage, maybe, because if there is an emergency, you know that the person's okay or you know how to track them down. If there was an emergency, specifically with the way my husband drives, I need to know where he's at. God forbid. These are my real life concerns. But I actually don't even know how to use it. Like, I know it says that we track the location, but if there was an emergency, I'd figure out how to use it. But until then, it's there, it exists. I think it's fine. I know where he's at all the time anyway. He'll tell me.
I think we're doing too much. I think we're all doing too much. What did we do before we had all these apps and stuff? And I feel like if somebody
People
texts
went
me
missing.
and they don't hear back from me within 2 seconds, they're like, question mark, question mark, question mark. I've got a life. I may not be able to text you in 2 seconds after you texted me. We're doing too much. I don't want my man to know everywhere I'm at. I want to be able to come home at the end of the day and share what we've been doing. I don't need to know you got a haircut, then you stopped at the weed shop, then you went to 7-Eleven. I don't need to know all those things. I don't want to know. And I don't want you knowing what I'm doing either. Because now now it's too much.
Even in a marriage?
Much. Yes,
that's
in
your
a
best
marriage.
friend.
Why?
It's not that you're required. It's that that's your best friend, so you just want to tell them where you are and what you're doing.
Adrian.
Adrian,
You
I
know,
love you.
I'm in a relationship and
would wanna
James
tell
put a
him.
GPS, but James put a GPS on my, so I could track him. I don't care. And one day I looked at it. I only looked at it one day because he was driving to Arizona, and it has a little truck, and he was making like 4 turns. It was like 4 squares. He was going in a square 4 times. So I called him. I said, "You're lost." I said, "Let me help you." That's the only reason. But other than that, I agree with Garcelle. I don't want to know. I don't want want to know where I don't
I
care
don't
because
want
this
to
is
know.
my
I want to know
thing.
where he's
A good
at by
relationship,
the
you ain't gotta
location.
do that.
I want to know where he's at by telling me.
That's
Well,
what
he
I'm
can come
saying.
tell you at the end of the day. When
That's
you're
what I'm
sitting by
saying.
the fire,
I'm
when you're
not
cooking
on the
dinner,
location
whatever.
thing. It's just there in the case of an emergency.
No, Adrian, it's some people that's
What you
gonna
gonna do,
track. They
Adrian?
use it to keep up with a person. They use it to keep up with their dude. They use it to keep up with they girl. That's what we're saying. It's a lack of communication. If you got to do that to understand where your partner is, there's an issue.
Don't be in
That's
that relationship.
A really strong
if you don't,
issue.
if you're using that device as a trust mechanism, yo, give the whole man back. Give the phone and the man back, because that's not okay. Like, don't, like, that's just stupid. Like, turning
Yes,
the phone,
Adrian.
turning the man. That's whack. Like, the moment you think you need to use the tracking device because you don't trust somebody, get out of that relationship ASAP. You're gonna find out what you wanted to know.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's come back to it. You saw the video, and I'm asking the question: is it okay for your spouse or the person that you're in a relationship with, your mate, to track your location? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Now, first of all, I would say this. I would say, what's the motive behind it? Let's go there first. What's the motive behind it? Because as a married couple, if the motive is, hey, I just want to have your location and because of the times that we live in. You know, I remember T-Mobile had this a while back, and I remember T-Mobile had this app where if you had, you had different phones on your family plan, there was this app where you could see their location. So we had it for our kids. We had it for our kids because, the times that we live in, if our kids say, how kids play games. Kids say, I'm over here, but they're really over there. I'm going to be at my girl's house, but, it's my daughter, but she's at, we make sure she ain't at some boy's house. So just to, check locations, T-Mobile had this app a while ago, but my wife was in charge of it, and my wife had my phone on there, had my kids' phones on there. And me personally, I don't have anything to hide, but the fact that she knew my location, again, I don't have anything to hide, but sometimes I didn't like it. But I'll pause there for a second. But what's the motive behind it? What's the motive? If the motive is, I just want to have your location because if something is going on, things happen in the world. You say you're coming right home, you're leaving the gym, and the gym is 20 minutes away. Now 2 hours have passed, 3 hours have passed. You say you're leaving your parents' house, and they live not too far away, live 15 minutes away, but hours have passed, and you're not home. And then I call you, and you're not answering your phone. Then knowing the location of your spouse is a good thing, I believe. Knowing the location of your kids is a good thing. Like I said, a lot of times we use that for our kids because, it's so much going on in the world. It's so much, crime. It's so much evil. It's so much wickedness. So we want to know where our kids are. We want to know where our family is, bringing it back to a relationship. An emergency, like I think one of them was saying, an emergency, if I can't get a hold of you, if I haven't seen you, if I know you're supposed to be at home, but you're not at home and you're not answering your phone, then in that emergency, I need to know your location. So I understand that if that's the motive, because some of us are private people, and that's where I'll go. That's why I was saying when my wife had it, I really didn't like it because I don't have anything to hide, number one. So yeah, if you check my location, okay, that's what you want to do. But some of us are private. There are some things maybe we don't want you to know. For example, if I'm leaving the gym, let me use that example. I'm leaving the gym and I say, yeah, I'm going home. I'm leaving the gym. But I didn't tell you that I stopped off and got a smoothie. It's innocent. I stopped off and got a smoothie. And then, because I stopped off and got a smoothie, afterward, I was on my way home and the mall is not too far away. I stopped off and got some new shoes. I stopped off and got an outfit at the mall. Now, is there anything wrong with that? Because I told you I'm on my way home. I left the gym, I'm on my way home. The gym is like 15 minutes away. I said, I'm on my way home. But I stopped and got a smoothie afterward. I didn't tell you. I stopped at the mall and I got something. I didn't tell you. Is something wrong with that? Because sometimes there are certain things I think people, and I'm just throwing it out there, I think some people, I know there is no privacy in the world, but we want to have a sense of privacy. We don't want people to know all our business. Now, you might say, well, that's wrong because that's your spouse. But again, there is no privacy in the world, but sometimes we just want a little privacy. Sometimes people just want to do some things that they don't have to tell their spouse. It's innocent though. It's innocent though. So there are some people like that. Now, there are some people, somebody told me this, there's a difference between being private and trying to hide something. Some people say, oh, I'm private, but really they're not private. They're just trying to hide something. But there are some people who are private. They just don't like, even though you're my spouse, even though we're together, there are some things I just want to have as my own. I think that's the better way to say it. There are some things I just want to have at my own. It's just mine. I just want to, I stopped over here. I didn't have to tell you, don't have to tell you step by step what I did. So some people are just that private because I'm one of them. There are some things that I just mind. Like, yeah, I said I was on my way home, but I stopped off here. I stopped off there. It was innocent, but I didn't tell you step by step because people don't want to feel like they're prisoners. And sometimes when they have to tell you, if they have to check in and tell you step by step, they feel like they're prisoners. You don't intend it that way. You might have like the motive to say, hey, I just want to know where you're at. You said you were going to be here and I know it's 15 minutes away. You didn't come home and I just want to know. You may feel like your intentions may have been good, but to them, they just feel like, oh, you're like a warden. Oh, you're micromanaging me. You know, I did this. It was on the way home. I did it and it's just mine. It's my private moment. But again, what's the motive behind it? Because if the motive is just for protection, hey, the motive is just, hey, you said that you were coming home from your parents' house. I know where your parents live. It only takes 30 minutes and it's been 3 hours. Then you get worried. So you just want to check their location. I have no problem with that motive. Now, if you don't trust them, that's the problem. Because you're in a relationship and a relationship needs trust. So let's talk about that, because if you don't trust the person, that's why you want to know their location. Then we got to ask 2 questions. The first question is, why? Why? Why don't you trust them? Is it something that happened in the previous relationship? Because you have to fix that. Because if somebody did something to you where now you have trust issues, now you say, I don't trust no man if you're a woman, or I don't trust no woman if you're a man. The problem is you, because every man is not the same. Every woman is not the same. Just because in a previous relationship, a man did you wrong doesn't mean that the man that you're with is going to do you wrong, or vice versa. If a woman did you wrong, man, this woman right here is no guarantee that she's going to do you wrong. So that's you. You can't bring your old baggage. You can't bring those things into a new relationship. So that's the answer right there. If it's because somebody else did something to you, your past, something happened where they cheated on you, then you have to heal from that before you step into this new relationship. Because this new relationship that you're in, or this marriage that you're in, will never be successful if you don't heal from your past. So what's the reason why you don't trust them? Because like I said, if it's something that happened in the past, it wasn't even the person that you're with. It's something that happened, but now you've taken that approach to every man, or you've taken that approach to every woman. That's not right. You are the issue. You have to heal from that. You have to heal from that before you can step into this new relationship. That's number 1. Number 2 is the person that you're with. It may not have been a previous relationship. Maybe this person that you're with is cheated on you. So now you don't trust them. So the person who's complaining now that, hey, she is tracking my location, or he's tracking my location, I don't like it. We're asking, why are they tracking your location? If it's not about security, if it's not just to your well-being, but it's trust issues, if it's not about a previous relationship, but it's you did something in the past to violate that trust, then what you're complaining about? You know the reason now. It's you. You did something to violate his or her trust. And now that's why they're tracking your location. But just like the woman said, if you have to do all that in a relationship, then you need to step out of that relationship, because you can't have a relationship without trust. You can't have a relationship without trust. Now, the person, if you violated your mate's trust, you have to earn that back. You can't just say, come on, you got to trust me. Come on, you got to trust me. You know we need trust. You violated the trust. You violated the trust. And that takes work. That takes time. That takes effort to build that trust back. And if you're in a relationship, if you're in a marriage and that trust hasn't been built up again, then you need to re-examine your place in that relationship. Because if you can't trust them, what are you doing? What are you doing? If I have to follow you around, if I have to see where you're at day in and day out because I don't trust you, where's that relationship going? Where is it going? Because what's going to happen, right? What's going to happen if you find out they were cheating? Think about that for a second. If I'm watching your location, if I'm checking to see where you are, when you said where you at, if you say you're going to be here, if I'm checking and verifying that you're going to be there, and if you're not, and if I find out that you were cheating, then what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Because if you have to do all that in a relationship because this person is not trustworthy, that's your answer right there. If this person is not trustworthy, if you already know the answer, he or she is not trustworthy. You can't trust them. You already know the answer. You already know the answer to that. So you need to re-examine, why are you in that relationship? Why? Because, like I said, if someone violated your trust, now I'm not saying if you're married, go out and get divorced. I would never, work it out, go to God, work it out. But what I'm saying is, if you're trying to work it out, if you're in the belief that, okay, if this person can do right, they'll gain back my trust. But if it's not working, if it's not getting stronger, if the relationship is not getting stronger, if your trust with them now, because they violated so many times, it's not getting stronger, then you got to look yourself in the mirror and say, why am I wasting this time in this relationship? Because some people don't want to change. You want him or her to change and stop cheating, but they don't want to change. They like cheating. They like that lifestyle. They like doing those things. So you want them to change, but they have to want to change. You know, there was this old rap song. It was saying, don't save her. She don't want to be saved. Don't save her. I think it was 3-6 Mafia. I still remember that. That was back in my days before I got saved. But I think it was 3-6 Mafia. Don't save her. She don't want to be saved. There are some people out there, they don't want to be saved. They don't want to be saved. You think you can be their save. You think you can change that person. You can't change that person. He likes cheating. She likes cheating. So the question is, you must like it too. You must like being cheated on. You must like your trust being violated. Because if it keeps happening, and it keeps happening, and you feel like you got to be the parole officer, you feel like you got to be the warden, you feel like you got to micromanage the man, or you got to micromanage the woman, it's on you. It's on you. Because you know your worth. You should know your worth. You should know your value. And you need to step out of that relationship if nothing is changing. That's where I'm going. If nothing is changing. So if you got to do all that, you need to question yourself. You need to question yourself. So what's the motive? What's the motive behind it? If the motive is security, if the motive is, hey, I just want to have it just in case something goes wrong, because we live in a world where things happen and you just want to, protect the person that you're with. I understand it, have no problem with it. But if it's about trust in a relationship and you need a trust to a relationship to be successful, then you need to answer yourself a few questions. So ladies and gentlemen, that's all I have on this topic. What is your opinion on it? What is your opinion on it? Is it okay for your spouse, your mate to track you? Let me know, Before I get out of here, I want to give a shout out to the Dream Team, Blessed Dreams Production, my boy Alfred, Eyes Have Not Seen, my sister Marilyn. Remember to like me on Instagram, Young King. And until the next episode drops, be blessed.
Don't ever take nothing for granted, man. Hey, you gotta wake up and realize it all.